So, I'm just going to record this. Okay. Yes? It's thinking. Congress? Right. It's Saturday. Nobody's going to be there. Yes, I'd like to call Congress, please. Who are you talking to? Okay. Hang up, please. Why? Why? Because when you want to talk to Congress, you need to speak to your own representative. Offhand, I don't know who our representative is. I have to look it up. The other thing is that every time you make a phone call to... Stop it! Who are you talking to? Yourself or me? Me? I see. Why should I stop it? I'm your mother. I'm trying to teach you something. Every time you make a phone call to an elected official, I'll get put on a list of potential people to keep an eye on. Well, that's just not fair. No, it's not. That's how the system works. So, why? Why? For you, people to put an eye on, and not me, the one who is making the call in the first place. Because you are not unauthorized. You are not a registered voter. You are a minor. And I am your parent or guardian, which makes me liable for anything you do until you turn 18. So how is that if they're calling the official to say something to them about something? Well, if you want to make one sense, if you want to talk to a representative, but the first thing that we need to do is figure out who your representative is. Who your congressman, who your congressman is, who your senator is. Once we find that out, we can write letters to them. And I recommend writing letters because by taking the time to think out what you want to say, you can be more effective and more persuasive. Okay. I can just give her something to say. For you. And here's what I want to say. Okay. I'm a movie. I'm a loser. And I do not want to be shot and get shot. Please, it's as simple as that. Go gun guns, please. That works. You can put that in a letter. And I'll find out who our representative and senator is. And you can send it. And that's it. And then you just have to wait for, and
And the thing is to them is that even if you and all the other kids write impassioned letters, unfortunately, the people who are in Congress are driven by the people who actually vote, which means me and other parents and other people who are 18 years of age. So why don't they? So it's not for the people who. Isn't it ironic that kids don't get, that kids aren't the ones who vote for their own rights, but it's all the parents vote? Sometimes it is ironic in the sense that, yeah, when it comes to kids' issues, it's the people who are not kids are making these choices. At the same time, though, because as adults, they have been kids once, so they have the experience of being a kid. They also have the experience of being an adult. So, by having that experience as an adult, you can make slightly better choices because of that experience. But that does not mean that adults don't take cues from their kids. I mean, if a lot of kids say, I'm scared about guns in school, those kids are going to influence their parents to vote a particular way. So it's not like kids don't have power. Because if you think about it this way, people who don't have kids don't think much about kids' rights or kids' privacy. So things like having social playgrounds, having access to good technology in the classroom is not important to somebody who is 20 years old, doesn't have kids, and is single. But the minute a person realizes, wait a minute, I'm a parent and I'm responsible for somebody else, that's when the kid suddenly has a huge influence on what the parent does. Because now all of a sudden, this person who didn't have a kid, the birth of a baby is amazing. Because, the whole world changes instantly. And if you hadn't thought of it before the birth, after the birth, when there's that reality of this baby in front of you, the parent suddenly realizes that they have to make certain changes in order to make the world for this child good. And a lot of times that's when a mother will stop smoking. It doesn't happen for everybody. There are lots of examples of people who they have been talking for. All vegetables. Okay, so the birth of a child, when a person suddenly realizes, wait a minute, I'm responsible for this new life, and not only be responsible for it, I have to or I want to make it's the best possible place for my child to grow. That's when the child starts influencing the parent.
Okay.
Okay? So don't think of yourself as voiceless. And don't think of yourself, because all you have to do is say, Mom, this is something that concerns me. And I'll listen. I want to know what's on your mind. I may not be able to do anything about it personally, depending on what it is, but I will do my utmost to get your voice heard through me. Even if it's something that I don't personally agree with.
Like what?
Well, I personally don't agree with, I don't want to take all guns away, because there are people who need guns. And a rancher that lives on the edge of coyote country needs to have a gun to protect themselves.
Yeah, but wouldn't Swiss Army suffice just as well?
If you have to get close enough to a coyote to use a Swiss Army, you've already gotten close. Okay? But
Can we just use Windsor?
I don't know. But the thing is, Ben, even though I don't want to take away all guns,
I feel the same way. It's just that I just don't want guns allowed in school.
oh yeah, I don't want guns allowed in school either. But my point was is that even though I don't want guns in schools, and you don't want guns in schools, if we had a conflict of interest in there, I would make sure that I would be able to express that you want, as well as my choice.
What does Starbucks support them since isn't that Starbucks is the last person that has to start people to protest against. I mean, it's a coffee shop, and they're against them dancing, so it's a pretty good reason. But why would they support dancing? I mean, not support dancing.
Well, that depends on what is going on fundamentally with it. And the first question I have is, okay, so they don't support it. Are they actively not supporting it, or are they passively not supporting it? And by that I mean, say you wanted to have bread, and I could actively say, no, you're not going to have any bread. Or I don't want you to ever have bread. That's being active. I could physically put a barrier around the bread to keep you from that. But passively, I could be opposed. I may be opposed because I'm not for it. Because some people look at things like that it's black and white. You're either for guns or against guns.
Okay.
But there are people like me that it's okay for somebody to have a rifle, but I don't want them to have machine guns. Okay, so
something like the barrier is okay. It's like a compact gun, like like one of those common guns, only it doesn't have that thing on the back.
It doesn't have a hammer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, here's the problem. Stop it, strategy. And communities that promote open carry will abide by local laws. While these laws don't exist, openly carrying weapons in stores is prohibited. It's the most confusing policy ever.
No. It's not. Okay. Let me translate it for you. Okay. In places that it's okay to carry a gun, they're not going to stop somebody from carrying a gun. Because they could, but it would mean putting a staff member to police or to uphold that. Where these laws don't exist, openly carrying weapons in our stores is prohibited. That means if there's no law that says you can bring a gun in a store, they're going to prevent anybody coming in with a gun in hand.
That is so confusing. No, this paragraph.
Okay.
Starbucks refuses to go blah, 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 blah. Earlier this year, a woman was yelling at a customer and she dropped her purse and let a loaded weapon inside discharged. Why?
Well, it was an accidental shooting. The woman had a gun in her purse for some reason, and when her purse dropped, it shot somebody. Now, again, it doesn't... let me put it this way. Okay. When you were much smaller, and I'd say, Ben, I don't want you walking on that part of the sidewalk. Okay? You would hop, or skip, or jump across that part of the sidewalk, because I said, don't walk. Okay? You took advantage of the fact of one thing that I said. Alright? And that's what's happening here. Starbucks said they will stop anybody carrying a gun in places where it's illegal. That's all they said.
Okay.
It didn't say, go ahead and carry guns. It didn't say that. It just said,
Oh.
so you get it? People are taking advantage of what they didn't say.
Alright.
I'm just stepping out to the garden to see how things are going. Have you seen our pumpkin plant?
Oh.
You better take a look at this.